Hey, what up? The moment we have all been waiting for. Playoff basketball. No more tanking talk, no more 65-game rule talk, no more is that player eligible for awards talk. It's just pure hoops. Is your team better than my team? I'm predicting every winner from the first round, so buckle up. We're going to be starting with the Blue Plate Special, the Unk Edition. Lakers, Rockets. It's LeBron versus KD, King versus the Slim Reaper. It's hard to imagine the last time these guys faced off in the playoffs was 8 years ago in the 2018 finals, but the stakes are considerably lower this year. It's basically just two old dudes saying, who still got it? Unfortunately, LeBron was supposed to be the third option come playoff time, but Luke and Reeves probably aren't making it back in the first round, which means again, LeBron is undermanned in the playoffs. Luke and Reeves averaged 57 points, 14 boards, and 12 assists together in the regular season. That's a ton of offense to lose and to find very fast. So DeAndre Ayton, now's your time. You said they were treating you like Clint Capella. Well, go out. Show them what you got. Put up 30 and 15. Win a game. And on the Rockets side, this is why they brought in KD. You trade Jalen Green, you trade Dylan Brooks for a guy you know can get you a bucket in the fourth quarter. Too bad this team has struggled in the clutch time. They're 22 and 23 in those games. Not super ideal. KD has struggled with the double team when they've thrown it at him, and the supporting cast has not helped him out in the slightest. If the Rockets lose this series, it's probably going to be Ime Udoka's fault, and he's probably looking for a job next summer. My prediction, Rockets in 5. Yeah, I don't think Luka and Reeves come back in time. The Rockets probably go up 3-1 in the series, and then they probably just set Luka and Reeves on the bench and wait for next year. They don't want to hurt him. They probably keep him healthy. Şengün is probably going to work Ayton in the post. The Rockets have too many bodies to throw at LeBron at this point. Amen Thompson, Tari Eason. He's 41 years old. Let's give him a break. And if the ball's not in his hands, then whose hands are they in? Luke Kennard? Marcus Smart? Not ideal. The Rockets advance pretty easily to round 2. For the next series, we have another banger. Wolves Nuggets. Jokic versus Ant. Can the Nuggets win it again? Can the Timberwolves finally get over the hump? These teams have had some epic battles in the playoffs the last couple of seasons. In 2023, when the Nuggets won it all, they ended up beating the Wolves in the first round of the playoffs. 2 years ago, it went to Game 7, and Rudy Gobert hit the shot of his life. That thing went to heaven and back and went in. And again this year, on Christmas, Nuggets win in overtime. Jokic puts up 56, 16, and 15. An absolute jaw-dropping stat line. So will we get another Game 7 this year? I don't think so. Ant's been pretty banged up. He's missed 11 out of 14 games heading into the playoffs. And if he's not 100% healthy, this team's chances of winning drops dramatically. Now you're relying on Julius Randle to carry the offense, and the Nuggets can just throw Peyton Watson and Gordon at him. And for the Nuggets, this is Jokic's best offensive season ever. He's the first player in NBA history to lead the league in assists and rebounds. No one has ever done that. And his running mate, Jamal Murray, this is his best season ever. First-time All-Star. He has career highs in points, rebounds, assists. He's shooting the ball more efficiently than he ever has. This duo has been unstoppable for 6 years. They already won a chip, and they're at the peak of their powers right now. So prediction time. Nuggets in 6. I don't think this Wolves team is as dangerous as it has been in the past. I think Cat was actually a pretty big reason they beat the Nuggets 2 years ago, and he's gone. And we know Jokic has never been scared of Gobert. And with Ant being banged up, I just don't see it. Jokic will get his. They might slow Murray down with Jaden McDaniels a little bit, but he has shown repeatedly that he is at a different level this year. So I think Nuggets take it. Thanks for playing Minnesota. Now, go get a point guard in the offseason. Next series, we're staying in the West still. Spurs, Blazers. It's Wemby versus Denny. Is this the beginning of the Spurs' new dynasty? Wemby's the new Tim Duncan. Stephon Castle, he's the new Tony Parker. Harper, he's the new Manu. Who knows? This team had a blistering end to the season, going 29-4 in their last 33 games. And Wemby's going to win Defensive Player of the Year unanimously. Keldon Johnson, he might win Sixth Man of the Year. Mitch Johnson, he's going to be in contention for Coach of the Year. Everything's going right for this team. The Blazers, on the other hand, they've proven a lot of doubters wrong. Who would have thought at the beginning of the year, after their coach got fired, that they'd be in the playoffs? Deni Avdija was scoring 14 points a game 2 years ago on the Wizards. Now he's an all-star, putting up 25-7-7 a night. And he was third in the league in free throw attempts. He is relentless going downhill. We've had some scoot flashes. They added a champion and an adult in the locker room with Drew Holiday. And they just sent Devin Booker and the Suns packing. Prediction, Spurs in 6. I think this series is actually tied 2-2 after 4, and then the Spurs get it together and win the last 2. Some people think this even might be a 5-game or a sweep, but I think we have to remember that the Spurs are incredibly young. Wemby, Harper, Castle, they've never been in the playoffs. The only time Fox has been, he lost in the first round, but their bench is very valuable. Harrison Barnes, Luke Cornett, these are past champions who can settle down the team if it gets tight, I think. And for the Blazers, if your best guy's attribute is going downhill and getting to the line, and Wemby's on the other side of that, you're losing that battle. And there's no way for Portland to get him out of the paint. Donovan Clingan, Robert Williams, those guys are traditional bigs. They're staying close to the basket. The formula just favors the Spurs. It'll be really fun to see how far they go. And for the Blazers, congrats on the season. And guess what? You get Dame back next year. And last but not least, we have the Thunder versus either the Warriors or the Suns. It's the start of the repeat. It's Shea versus Booker or Steph, but it doesn't really matter. This team's going to swallow the 8th seed whole. They have the league's best record again. They're first in plus minus, first in defensive rating, and Shea's probably going to win back-to-back MVPs. And not to mention Chet's going to make all defensive team. And the crazy thing is, they did all of this with their third best player only playing 33 games with J-Dub, and Hartenstein only played 47 games. If other teams starting guard and center missed that amount of time, they're probably fighting to make the playoffs. But here this team is with the number 1 seed again. Not to mention they absolutely stole Jared McCain away from the Sixers. Thanks, Daryl. As if this team was not deep enough. We got AJ Mitchell, ISO Joe, Kaysen Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Alex Caruso all coming off the bench. Those guys are probably starting on 27 other teams. And they get to play who? The Suns, who had a losing record in their last 25 games? The team that has to rely on Jalen Green to shoot 20 times a game? Or the Warriors, who have Steph on one leg? That win against the Clippers was an all-timer, but they barely beat that team. They gave them everything they had, and that was against a bad Clippers team. They have zero chance against this OKC squad. Prediction, if it's Phoenix, it's a sweep. If it's Golden State, it's a sweep. You could combine these two teams together and they would still lose. The Thunder get a very easy first round matchup to begin their quest for the repeat. On to the east side of the bracket, and I'm going to start again with a 4-5 matchup. The Cavs and the Raptors, because I have to talk about the possible redemption tour for James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. We know Harden struggles in the playoffs. We don't have to go into it. But Mitchell is starting to build that reputation as well. He's 4-8 in his playoff series with 0 conference finals. And that's being on a number 1 seed twice. Can he and James get over the hump together? We know they traded away James because they didn't trust Garland's health. And there's probably like a wink that they were going to pay James in the offseason. But if they flame out in the first round, are they going to keep that promise? They're facing a Raptors team that has been amazing defensively all year. They're 5th in the league in defensive rating, and Scotty Barnes is easily on his way to another All-NBA defensive team. Throw in an All-Star year from Brandon Ingram, a healthy RJ Barrett, a healthy Emmanuel Quickley, and this team has some juice. I also love their bench guys. Jamal Shed, Mamukelashvili, Colin Murray Boyles, they're all great. It took me 100 times to pronounce Mamukelashvili's name correctly. You're welcome. This bench unit is first in the league in assist to turnover ratio. They know how to share the rock. Prediction time. I'm taking the Cavs in 7. I think this series can go either way. And for me, Scotty and Mobley kind of cancel each other out. And then you have Mitchell versus BI and RJ. And Mitchell's going to be on an all-NBA team, and those guys aren't. So I think it just leans slightly towards the Cavs. But if they do lose this first round series, they have a bleak future. They have Mobley, Mitchell, these guys they thought were top 10, top 20, who can't even make it past the first round. On to the 3-6 matchup, the Knicks and the Hawks. A classic Jalen versus Jalen. Can Brunson finally prove Becky Hammon wrong? Is this the year the Knicks go all the way? I had them as my finals team coming out the East in the preseason. And I don't think much has changed. Boston's a little bit better than we thought they'd be. The Pistons have played great all year. But I still just love the overall talent on this team. Brunson's a guard who can get you a bucket at any time. You got Cat, a stretch big who can knock down threes at a high clip. Bridges and Anunoby can guard almost anyone in the league. I don't know. I just think this team can get to another level. I will say I don't love their acquisitions at the trade deadline. Clarkson, Alvarado, those guys are pretty hot and cold. So how do the Hawks hold up? Well, they have their guy in Jalen Johnson. First-time All-Star, nearly averaged a triple-double all season. Imagine how good this team would be if they didn't absolutely blow that first overall pick on Shea. Good thing they don't even need him to be good. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is in the running for most improved player. Dyson Daniels, still a demon on defense. And Okongwu is hitting threes, which changes the world for this team offensively. They're under 500 through 60 games this season, but finished 18-5. They are hot at the right time. And the prediction, Knicks in 6. I'm taking experience over youth. This Knicks team was in the conference finals last year. They beat a really good Pistons team, a really good Boston team. They have the playoff scars. And the Hawks kind of remind me of the Blazers a little bit. They have one really good offensive guy that the team kind of revolves around. But if he's shut off, they don't really have anywhere else to go. Continuing our run, we land at the 2-7 seed, Sixers, Celtics. On one side, we have Jalen and Jason. On another, we have Maxey and VJ, and maybe Embiid. The Sixers win against the Magic was a ton of fun. Edgecombe played great for his first postseason game as a rookie. Maxey was impossible to guard as always, and Drummond hit some threes. Great times. But we have to be honest, this team's chances tanked when Embiid went out. He was and always will be their X factor. When he played, they were 24-14. That's a 63% win rate. That's right up there with the Knicks and Cavs. And when he didn't play, they had a losing record at 21-23. And you know you're going up against the probable coach of the year in Joe Mazzulla, a top 5 MVP candidate in Jaylen Brown, and Tatum's like 90% of his old self already. The story really is how quickly can Boston win this series to save Tatum? We know playoff basketball is way more intense than the regular season. They probably want him playing as few minutes as possible, and if they can avoid a long series, they're going to have a lot of rest before the second round. Prediction time, Boston in 5. I don't see a pathway with Philly keeping this close. They were awful against teams above 500 this year. The only reason the record is what it is because they almost swept teams against under 500. And this Boston team is a completely different animal. VJ might have played well in that play-in game, but going to Boston, we know how those fans can get. It would have been a lot more fun if Embiid was playing. It sucks we have to keep saying that. And even if he did show up towards the end of the series, I think they would have too big of a lead to overcome. And last but not least, we have the Pistons versus the Hornets. Let's not even entertain the Magic winning that game. The players want the coach fired. The coach wants the players traded. It's a bad situation down there in Orlando. It would be shocking if they beat that Hornets team after they're riding high over their win versus the Heat. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the Hornets actually provide some trouble for the Pistons. They have a higher offensive rating, a higher true shooting percentage, and they rebound the ball better. And that's accounting for the entire season, not just the last few months where the Hornets have been super hot. If Conor and LaMelo can find their 3-ball, it'll make this series very interesting. They have zero pressure. They're the young and fun team. No one expects them to win. And on the other hand, the Pistons have everything to lose. They've been the number 1 seed almost all year, and they're definitely expected to make it past the first round. The good news is, Cade is back. He is a first-team All-NBA caliber player. And his injury actually might have been a silver lining. Dennis Jenkins showed that he can handle the team while Cade was out. Detroit actually went 13-5 while Cade missed time. That's actually super important because a lot of people thought that this team lacked another ball handler besides Cade. Well, they found one. Prediction, Pistons in 5. I think Detroit wins this series pretty easily. Asar Thompson, Ron Holland. I think they're going to wrap up LaMelo and Brandon pretty easily. And I think Jalen Duren's going to average like 15 boards against this pretty thin Hornets front court. And as we saw in the game against the Heat, Khan struggled to put the ball in the basket. The lights might be a little bit too bright. The Pistons are just a complete basketball team, and they've been pushing all the right buttons since October. I hope they make a real run this year. Well, those are my predictions. Let me know how wrong I am. I love constructive feedback. And let the games begin.